episode of the Cozy Cottage Crochet podcast. My name is Hannah, and this is a podcast all about crochet, a little bit of knitting, sometimes sewing, and generally living the yarniest life possible in St. Petersburg, Florida, where I live. How are you? It's been 2 weeks. Yesterday was Thanksgiving. I really hope you had the best time. If you celebrate Thanksgiving, if you don't, if you're out of the United States, you probably don't celebrate Thanksgiving. But basically, despite its origin, Thanksgiving is a time where you get together with family and friends, and that's exactly what I did yesterday. My parents came over, my brother and his girlfriend were here, and it was small, but I set up a Christmas tree. So obviously it's time for Christmas. I have so much to talk about. We had better get started because I don't know how I'm going to squeeze it all in. First of all, if you are looking for me anywhere on the interweb, I am most active on Instagram, and I cross-post to Facebook. So if you're a Facebook person and you don't want to do Instagram, that's fine. Just look for me at the Cozy Cottage Crochet. If you have any questions, inquiries, comments, concerns, you want to contact me for any reason, please send me an email to thecozycottagecrochet@gmail.com. I am a little behind in responding to things because this week has been crazy, but that is the best way to get a hold of me. If you send me a Facebook message or an Instagram message, the chances that I see that are pretty small unless we regularly communicate. So please send me an email if you have anything to say, or you can leave me a comment down below and I will see that as well. I have some prize winners to announce, you guys, from the Nerd Along. But first, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who has supported me over the past 2 years almost that I've been podcasting, but especially this year. It was one of my goals at the beginning of this year to write a crochet pattern, and my goal was to release 4 patterns this year, and I am happy to tell you that I have actually released 6 crochet patterns since January, even though in January 1 crochet pattern seemed so difficult. I have actually released 6, and I'm working currently on 2 more. One is the pine forest cowl with the little trees that you saw last episode, I believe. That pattern is almost ready. My testers are done with it. It just has to get tech edited next week, and then it'll be out at the beginning of December, so you can definitely keep an eye out for that. Also, we don't have like Christmas trees, like real ones in Florida, really. Not like where you go cut down your tree. That doesn't happen. But there's a church like half a mile from my house that has a little Christmas tree market every year where they have like pre-cut Christmas trees. I have a fake one because I didn't get time to sweep up Christmas needles. I just have like Febreze that smells like a pine tree and I spray on it. That's not the point. The point is, now there's Christmas trees a half a mile from my house, so I can totally go take photos of that pattern and get it published. This is going to be the episode of tangents, I can already tell you. Anyways, what I am trying to say is it's been kind of a roller coaster. It's been kind of a wild ride, but it's been fabulous. I'm so thrilled to be able to have released patterns, to see what you guys have made with my patterns. Just, I can't even, basically. Every time I see one, I'm like, oh, it's so beautiful. So if you want me to see it, please tag me on Instagram. Or make a Ravelry page for your project. That way I can see it as well. But as a way to say thank you to you guys, so I am recording on Friday, the 23rd of November, which is Black Friday. But you guys aren't going to see this until tomorrow, which is Saturday. So from the time that you see this video until the close of business on Monday, which is Cyber Monday, so 11:59 p.m. on Monday, all of my patterns in my Ravelry store are $1.50 off. Now, the reason I did that, it's just a flat $1.50 off. You don't have to have a coupon code. If you have been eyeing a pattern, all you have to do is add it to your cart and it will automatically be a reduced price. The most expensive pattern that I have is $4.50. So the max you would pay for a pattern would be $3, and there's quite a few. There's only 6 total. But you can get some for $2. So all of the ones that are $3.50 are now $2. So it's like, depending on the pattern, it works up to be like a 30 to 40% off discount. So if you watch this on Saturday, Sunday, or Monday, you will have time to get yourself a discount. It's just a way to say thank you for all of your support. I'm so grateful to be here. I'm so happy. This is my favorite time of the week, is when I get to record and talk to you and interact with you. It's just the best. And I'm going to move on before I get all sappy, because you know I will. I have winners to announce. Before we talk about finished objects, I have so many prizes. I have 8 prizes to announce for the Nerd Along. So thank you to everyone who has donated prizes. I'm so excited to be able to have as many prizes as possible because more prizes is fun. I would totally love to send a prize to everyone who has participated, but unfortunately I only have 8 prizes, but that's more than one. So I'm just gonna go in order of what I drew. I have an Instagram prize. I have, well, you'll see. So the first winner, and everyone who has won, I will send you a message on Ravelry or on Instagram, depending where you won from. Please respond to me with your address so that I can get these out in the mail next week. The first winner is an Instagram winner, and it is the user Sandwich Stitches, which I will put down below. She made a Star Wars blanket that was incredible. So I'm really excited that you won. And what you have won is an upside down Star Wars bag made by me and a beautiful skein of Knit Picks Chroma yarn. That is prize number 1. Prize number 2 is a prize that I have drawn specifically from people who used Sheep Happens yarn to make something. So I pulled all of those people specifically from the finished objects thread, and then I did a random number generator on those, and the person who popped up is, let's see, I'm sorry if I keep looking down, they're all written down. Rabbit Lady, who is Ruth. I believe you're in Vermont. Is that right? Send me your address. You have won these 3 purple skeins of Patons Metallic, some crochet hooks, and the second Star Wars bag made by me. You made, I believe you made the Falling Ivy. So, oh my gosh, did you hear that? The Dot, of which I will not say her name, but she just started talking in the kitchen. I'm not even near the kitchen, okay? Anyways, Ruth, please send me your address. You have won this, and I'm very excited. Congratulations. Prize number 3 is the knitting prize. So I picked all of the people who have drawn or who have made a knitting project, and I put them into a pile and drew a number, and the person who popped up is DKA Crochet, who is Dunia. I believe that's how you say your name. I'm so sorry. You made a knitting finished object and it was beautiful. So what I'm going to send you is this book. It's kind of a recipe book for knitting, and also this beautiful hat pattern, which is the Santiam Slouch pattern by Kelly Martin. And I will get in contact with her and she'll send you a PDF copy so you'll have that, but I have a printed copy that I'm going to send you as well. So that's because you knit. You got prize number 3. Prize number 4 is a prize that I drew specifically because I had 8 prizes total. I figured I could take one and just tell someone awesome job. So there is a person named Melissa from Ohio, and your Ravelry name is Mad Ninja Hooker, and you made a Pac-Man blanket, which I love so much. And I know at the end you were struggling to finish it, and you finished it, and it's amazing. It looks exactly like the Pac-Man video game, and I am so impressed. And I love that project, and I wanted to send you a prize. So you have won. Sorry, it's on the floor. You have won 3 skeins of sparkly red heart yarn, and you can totally see how sparkly that is. You have also won a fluffy pom-pom. Oh, and this stitch marker. This little rainbow. And that's not all. You have won a bag handmade by Kalisha, who runs the Quirky Monday podcast, and also she has an Etsy store. And she made this Avengers project bag, which I will talk about more at length at the end of this episode, but this is her card. And I'm gonna leave a link to her shop down below so you guys can see it. But this is like the best. Look at how beautiful he is. Okay, so you have won yarn and a project bag. So congratulations on finishing your Pac-Man blanket. And I still have 4 more prizes to announce, so stick with me. I have 2 finished object prizes that I've drawn randomly from the finished objects thread, and I have 2 prizes that I have drawn randomly from the chatter thread in Ravelry. So the first finished object prize goes to Crochetland 1993, who is Brittany. You have won some buttons, a skein of sparkly bamboo yarn, and a Harry Potter tote bag that says, "I solemnly swear that I'm up to no good," and a little pin. This is a post box, as so many of you told me. This came from London. I bought this in London as a prize for the Nerd Along. So you have won this. I'm very excited. Respond to my message on Ravelry, send me your address, and I will get this in the mail to you. The second finished object prize winner is This Beginner 2014, who is Angela. You have won, I'm not even gonna take this out. This is a giant bag of all of the cotton linen blend yarn in blue and white that I showed on the last episode. So you have won almost 10 skeins of cotton linen blend yarn that I will send to you as long as you can send me your address. And then I have 2 more prizes to announce from the chatter thread. So again, these are all randomly drawn except for the Pac-Man blanket, which I felt deserved a prize. So in the chatter thread, the first winner is Rowan P. And I'm not sure where you're from. I think your name is Rowan. But I have sent you a message, and what you have won is a crochet sock kit. You have a whole DVD on how to crochet socks. And this has a little like ice cream stitch marker, and there's a couple crochet hooks in there as well. So you have won the sock kit. And then the last winner I have in the chatter thread is Lori Lulu 327, who is Lori, and you have won. I showed this before, but it is a handmade project bag that says Punch It on it. It has this hand embroidery and has Star Wars fabric on the inside. This was handmade by Elizabeth, who runs the Crochet Cakes podcast and Dainty by Crochet Cakes Etsy store, which I will put a link to down below. So you will get this and this skein of Koigu yarn. That's all. I say that's all, like that wasn't just 8 amazing prizes. So thank you so much to everyone who participated. I was blown away. There was like 200 and something finished objects and almost 300 posts in the chatter thread. It's just amazing. Like I said, I wish I could give you all a prize. If you have won a prize, please go and check your Ravelry messages because I will need your address so that I can get these out in the mail to you. I will give you a while because I know it's Thanksgiving. So I'll give you, my next podcast is in 2 weeks, so I'll give you 4 weeks to get back to me. But please do get back to me soon because I know the mail slows down a little bit around Christmas time, and I would love to get those in the mail to you as soon as possible. And I will package them up and they will be just amazing. So thank you to everyone who participated. I'm so thrilled. The Nerd Along went fabulously. And if you didn't win a prize in this go around, don't worry, because we are going to start a new crochet along. Not until Christmas, okay? Not until Christmas Day. But you have a few weeks to finish up your gift knitting. You have a few weeks to relax. And then we are going to have a new crochet along that will run from Christmas Day until the end of February, the last day in February. So this will be the Love Your Stash Cal. So what is the Love Your Stash Cal? We all have a stash, right? Some of us have a couple of skeins, some of us have a whole wall of yarn. I'm kind of in between. I have, I think, a relatively small stash because basically I fit it in half of a closet. And then I have a little trunk that's like this big that just has like my hand-dyed stuff in it. So we have a stash, and I know so many people are like, oh, I don't need more yarn, but it spoke to me and it's beautiful. And basically the point of this crochet along is to use yarn that is in your stash. And I don't mean just any old yarn that you find in your stash. Like, use the good yarn. Use any yarn that has been in your stash, and it can have entered your stash up until Christmas Day. So any yarn that you, because I want you to be able to include any yarn that you may potentially get for Christmas for big projects. So any yarn that you get after Christmas Day is off limits. You are not allowed to use it for this cal. And whips are allowed, but only if you haven't touched them in a few months, or if you had the yarn in your stash. So let's say that I started a work in progress tomorrow and I only use yarn that's in my stash, that whip will count for the Love Your Stash cal. However, if I'm buying brand new yarn and I start the project tomorrow, then that will not count. So the yarn has to come out of your stash. Whips are allowed. If you haven't touched your whip in a while, like I have a couple whips that I have not touched in months that I really would like to get finished for this, then those are definitely allowed, okay? So works in progress are allowed. You can knit, you can crochet, you can embroider, you can cross stitch, you can weave, you can spin. The only thing that's not allowed is like sewing, because that's not really yarn related. So the Love Your Stash Cow, I didn't want to call it like the Stash Buster Cow or something else, right? The point is to promote stash positivity. I want you guys to feel positive about your stash. I want you to use the good yarn. Dig out the special skeins that you have been saving and find a project for them. I know they're beautiful, and I know you feel like you need to find a project that's worthy of them, but like, you're worth it right now. You can totally use the yarn. I am gonna be working on a cardigan, which I totally left the pattern for way over there, so you'll have to see it next time. But it is a Tunisian crochet cardigan, and I'm going to be using the fabulous purple yarn that I bought for my birthday back in April of this year. That's just been sitting in my closet waiting for me, and I really, really, really want to use it. So that's gonna be one of my projects, and then I have 2 works in progress that I have not touched in over, one of them has been 2 months, the other one has been like 6 months that I have not touched this work in progress. And I started it for a reason. These are not projects that I'm going to frog. I want the finished piece. So the Love Your Stash Cow will start on Christmas Day. You have some time. There'll be another podcast episode before then where I'll talk about it a little bit more, but I just want you to be prepared. So I found my pattern already. I have my yarn. I'm gonna wind it up in advance, and I'm going to gauge swatch because I'm doing a sweater. So I'm doing all of that in advance so that on Christmas I can actually start this cardigan. Okay, so don't worry. If you didn't win a prize this time, there'll be another chance. And I already have a few things that I've set aside for prizes for that as well. Some fabulous, I think they're fabulous anyways. So you'll have to wait to see those until the cow starts. But there'll be a chatter thread that I will open up soon in the next few weeks, and the finished objects thread I'll open up later. If you have any questions about that, let me know. If you are a maker and you would like to donate a prize to the finished objects thread, a prize to the crochet along or knit along, just let me know. Shoot me an email. I'm happy to support makers in any way that I can. I'd love to share your product. I'd love to with people, because that's how I have found out about some wonderful things, which I'll show you about later. Okay, is that enough? Is that enough like administration? Should we talk about what I have been making? I have a couple of finished objects. Surprisingly, they are all knitting, but they're very simple, so we're gonna fly through them. Number 1, I have another knitted hat. This is the hat I was working on last time. As you can see, it is gray. This is, I should tell you what the yarn is. It's Deborah Norville Premier Everyday Colorway Charcoal Heather. This is what it looks like. It's a worsted weight yarn. It's living in this hat bag. That is my hat bag. This is hat number 4 of like 8 to 10 that I need to make. So I am pretty happy with that. I also finished another hat. This is Lion Brand jeans yarn, and I cannot remember the colorway for the life of me, but it's definitely in the colors section, and you're not gonna miss this color if you go to Joann's. It's the only Lion Brand jeans yarn that looks like this. This is a little bit smaller than this hat, as you can see if I put them next to each other. Just a little bit, because the ribbing is a little bit shorter. So for both of these hats, and these are all the hats that I've been making, I cast on 88 stitches on a 4.5, is that right? 4.5 millimeter needle? Yes, 4.5 millimeter needle. Cast on 88, I do 4 inches of 2x2 rib for these black hats. Then I do stockinette until it gets to be 9 3/4 inches. And then I follow the decreases in the classic cuffed hat pattern by Pearl Soho. It's a free pattern online. All you have to do is Google it. And let me tell you, on this hat, it was the first time, because this is number 4, that I have made these decreases and didn't look at the pattern, because I'm like nervous about them for some reason, but I didn't look at it. I totally have it memorized. This hat is not part of these 8 to 10 hats that I need to have done by January. It is for a gift exchange that I will be doing with some coworkers in a week or 2. So basically we have a Christmas party, and then everyone brings a gift, and then you get 1 gift to go home with, but nobody has a name on them or anything. So I wanted to make a hat to give. And of course, my crochet hats consistently come out the incorrect size, and I wanted to ensure that it would fit. So because knitting stretches this way and crochet stretches this way, I decided I should knit a hat. So this is the hat. This one only has 2.5 inches of ribbing, and then I think I went to like 8 3/4 inches, but it's the same decrease pattern and everything. So this is the hat. I really like it. That's like a fitted version, but you could totally make it slouchy if you wanted to. I imagine this will probably go to a girl because of the color, but hey, it could go to a guy. My hats are kind of a hot commodity where I work because people are always asking me to make them stuff, and I am always telling them absolutely not. So I made 2 hats for my boss for his 50th birthday, and he had been asking me for literally months to make him hats, and I kept telling him no. I was always gonna make him a hat, or even 2 hats, right? 50 is kind of a big deal. But he kept asking me, and I kept having to tell him no, 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 I will not make you anything, not even if you pay me. I am a selfish crocheter, a selfish knitter. I will not make you any kind of hat. I'm sorry. Because I didn't want to ruin the surprise, and he was really surprised when I gave him 2 hats. But he's been talking about these hats nonstop, so now everybody wants a hat. So I have a feeling this is going to be a high value item at the gift exchange, but we'll see. It didn't take me that long. It only took me a weekend. I cast this on Friday last weekend, and it was done on Monday. So 2 hats. Those are my first 2 finished objects. My second finished object I'm excited about. And I am excited about these. Look at these sock blockers. Oh, I'm so excited to show you socks. You know, if I'm showing you sock blockers, that means I have a finished pair of socks. Now, this was a lovely gift from one of the viewers of this podcast, and I don't know if you want me to say your name or not, so I don't know, but you know who you are, and I know who you are, and you made it possible for me to get these sock blockers, and I am, oh man, I'm gonna get emotional. I'm just really thankful because it makes it easier for me to show things on the podcast. It makes it, you're helping my yarny life, and also, I just love you a lot. So, anyways, I'm gonna keep going. Apparently I'm emotional today. You guys are just the best. I've finished wearing socks. Okay, I do not know what kind of yarn this is. So it's been living in my sock bag. This is from Slipped Stitch Studios. This was a gift from Claudia of the Crochet Luna podcast. This is my sock bag. I would say this is the most used project bag that I have owned ever because it has it's had a sock in it continuously since she gave it to me. It's my sock bag. So I have, this yarn was a lovely gift, but it didn't come with a ball band. So I want to say I probably have 100 grams left. I do not have 100 grams left. These are 50-gram balls, which total 100 grams before I made socks. Math. Math is not my friend. So I probably have 50 grams left. I have not weighed it, but I think 50 grams. Plus this little itty bitty thing, which I'll talk about in a second. So it's living in my sock bag. It has a cute little pin. And then my local yarn store, Stash, came out with these pins. And hopefully you can see that. It says Stash, a place for yarn. And I bought one. And I love it. So it's on my sock bag. Will it stay there? I don't know. So let's try out these sock blockers. I haven't actually put a sock on them yet. So you guys are like first time, just with me. Ta-da! Okay, like I said, I do not know what the colorway is or the brand. It's definitely like a superwash. Well, I don't know if it's superwash. I'm gonna hand wash them just in case. It's definitely a wool nylon mixture. I wanna say it's Deborah Norville. I haven't seen this exact colorway, but it feels like Deborah Norville because I have knit a pair of socks out of Deborah Norville already. And this is what it looks like. And if you look right here, you can see that I have a Fish Lips Kiss heel. So a viewer of this podcast named Alice, hi Alice, sent me the Fish Lips Kiss heel pattern months ago. And I said I couldn't try it on the socks that I was currently working on then because I was already completed one heel flap and gusset. So I was like, okay, it has to be the next pair of socks. So the next pair of socks turned out to be these. I don't know which sock is which now. It was probably this one. I measured my foot. I cut out the cardboard foot. I did the whole thing like you're supposed to do on the Fish Lips Kiss heel. But I guess measured incorrectly, because once I did the first heel and tried on the sock, I actually finished the whole thing because it was a shorty. What had happened was I was knitting them on my 9-inch circular ChowGoo red lace needles. I knit all of my socks on a 9-inch circular once I get past the toe. So I do the toes magic loop until I can fit it on my 9-inch circular, and then it's 9-inch circular until they're done, including the heel. I didn't want to change it and like put it on back on magic loop to try it on, so I just finished the sock. Dumb. So dumb. Anyways, it was a 1/2 inch too long. And that's actually okay, because I'm not sure if I dropped a stitch. I don't know. There was like a hole in the heel, and it was my first one, so it's not a big deal. So then the second sock, which is this one, I only knit to 7.5 inches instead of 8, and then I added the heel, and then I put it on magic loop, as I should have done originally, and tried it on my foot, and it fit perfectly. So I was like, okay, so 7.5 inches is the measurement that I need instead of 8 before I start my Fish Lips Kiss heel. So then I finished this sock, and then I went back, picked up all of these stitches, like down here, which was so nerve-wracking. I picked them up on magic loop, and then I unraveled, basically I frogged the sock back to the magic loop, and then I put it back on my 9-inch circular. And somewhere, like right here somewhere, there's like a lump. I picked up one stitch incorrectly. I didn't drop the stitch, but I'm not sure what happened. You can't tell, but I know it's there. Let me just tell you, the Fish Lips Kiss heel is mind-blowingly easy. I pretty much already have the pattern memorized, and I've only done 3 heels. I may still reference it next time just to make sure. I think really I need to reference it. So you do it's basically a short row heel. So you do short rows to here, to where you have the smallest row, and then you do a boomerang row, which is you do a whole row, and then you start with the small row and keep going out. That probably didn't make any sense. I'm sorry. So basically, if you want to try the Fish Lips Kiss heel, you should, because it's really easy. Don't be intimidated. The pattern has like 17 pages. Most of that is like pictures and tutorial. The actual pattern for the Fish Lips Kiss heel itself is 1.5 pages, and that's it. I was super intimidated when I started it, but I was like, it's just yarn. All I have to do is frog it if it messes up. And it did. And look, a finished pair of socks, it's totally fine. So I really, really like this. It fits slightly less better. Less well? Less good? Apparently, grammar is also not my friend today. It does not fit quite as well as a heel flap and gusset, but it fits really, really well. And I would say, on the 3rd heel, I got this done in less than an hour. And a heel flap and gusset sometimes takes me days, and I have to concentrate. So this is going to change my sock life, because I really, really, really want to make more socks. I've decided 2019 is going to be the year of the sock. 2018 was the year of the garment. My goal was to do 6 cardigans and sweaters, and I think I'm working on my 8th. I'll have to do a count before the end of the year and show you all the sweaters that I made. And I still have sweater plans for sure for 2019, but I really, really want to make socks. This is my 5th pair in 2018. I made 2 long pairs with long cuffs, and I made 2 short pairs, and then I just finished these. I will tell you that the 2 ankle sock pairs that I have made out of Knit Picks Felici, I have worn nonstop. I love them. The long pairs are beautiful. I don't wear them. It's Florida, number 1. It's too hot for long socks. Number 2, I don't like long socks. I never have. Pretty much my whole life I have been wearing ankle socks. As soon as ankle socks were a thing, I loved them. I know to like most sock knitters, it's gonna be like, why are you making ankle socks? Like, what's the point? Because that's what I like. That's what I like to wear. And you should make what you like, okay? You're the one who has to wear them. So I'm actually really excited about this Fish Lips Kiss heel too, because I want to make my mom a pair of socks, and she's been wearing these for like 2 days. They were over here for Thanksgiving, and I made her, they're much too big for her. She has a size like 6.5 foot, and I'm like an 8. So these are much too big. But I wanted to make sure the wool did not bother her feet, because like me, she has very sensitive skin. So I wanted to make sure before I made her any kind of socks that had wool content that they didn't itch her feet or make her uncomfortable. And they didn't, so that means I can make her socks. Now I have to go hunt for perfect sock yarn to make them. Will they be done by Christmas? Highly unlikely, on account of making all of these hats. I feel like I've been talking about these socks forever. I apologize if you're not here to talk about socks, but I'm really, really thrilled with the Fish Lips Kissed Heel. I'm really thrilled that I can like show you the socks. And I am calling these, I entered these into the Tatted Tatters Killmonger Cow, which is like basically an Avengers themed crochet along. And I called these my Easter Thanos socks. If you're a nerd, you'll get that. Okay, that's enough. I am going to, oh man, everything's everywhere today. This sock yarn, because there's 50 grams, if you use contrasting heels, toes, and cuffs, you could get a full length pair of socks out of this still. So I am going to squirrel this away for a giveaway. In fact, I'm just gonna do a giveaway right now with it because I want you to enjoy this sock yarn as well. So if you want this sock yarn, go to Ravelry. There will be a prompt for you to answer and I will send this yarn to you. And I guess I'll send, I don't know if I should send this. This is the little bitty, oh, I'm going off camera. This is the little bitty ball of yarn that was left after I frogged the first sock and reknit it 1/2 inch less. So this is 1/2 inch worth of yarn. So go to Ravelry. There is a link directly down below to the Ravelry group, to my Instagram, to Facebook, to my pattern designs, to makers that I love and want you to support. There are links below. Check them out. Are you ready to talk works in progress? Because I am. Let's get this out of the way because you know there's another hat on the needles. This is hat number 5. I'm actually like 6-7 inches in, so I only have like 2.5 more inches before I start the decreases. Hat number 5, hat number 5. I have been doing more knitting in the past 2 weeks than normal because we might as well segue into why that is. I have been working on my red cardigan, my crimson hooded cardigan, and I did like 40 rows one day, maybe 30 rows, I don't know. But either way, I knew it was too much when I was doing it. It was too much for my arm. I already have arm problems. I should not have done that many rows. Or if I did, I needed to alternate and do something else in between the rows. But I didn't, so then my arm hurt for like 3 days. So I knitted instead because crochet is a lot more arm movement, arm heavy. And knitting, I just barely move. So that's why there's so much knitting instead of crochet. But I do have a heck of a lot of crochet to show you. It is living in my Halloween bag that came from Crochet Cakes. It is the pattern that you can find in Interweave. Winter 2018, so winter last year. This is my ultimate crochet project. And this is what it looks like. Look at the cables. Okay, so I have done the back piece entirely. And I am working currently on the front panels. So here is one completed front panel, including armhole shaping. So when I showed this last time, I was right here. I put a progress keeper so you would know. I had about 20 rows left of the cable pattern. So I finished that. This is the left front panel. And I am currently, I really wanted to be done with this so I could show you. I'm currently almost through another ball of yarn. I am right here. Oh, that's upside down. I am here on the front panel number 2. I have 28 rows left on front panel number 2. I just finished the armhole shaping and now I'm going to be going back and forth. So I really, really wanted to get this done, but I just couldn't make it work with my arm. But I'm making progress, you guys. This cable repeat is everything. I love it so much. I want to work on it all the time. One more row, one more row, one more row, but I can't because it hurts my arm. It's not the fault of the pattern. It's just there is cabling every other row basically on this pattern. And as with amigurumi, that kind of hurts my elbow right here. And I do plenty of stretching, I take plenty of breaks, but I overdid it a little bit, which I should not have done. So Once I'm done with this panel, I think that this is gonna fly because then I'll just have 2 sleeves and then seam it up together in the hood, which of course is more cabling. But the sleeves don't have any cabling, so I think that I'll be able to do them pretty quickly. Oh, I'm so excited. I love the red. I love the cables. Oh, that's better. That was way blowing out the camera. This, oh, it's perfect. This is my Christmas sweater. I really, really want it to be done by Christmas. And I think that that's within reach. I don't see why it wouldn't be within reach. Unless something tragic happens and I just lose motivation. But I don't think that I will because I adore this pattern. It's so perfect. It's so perfect. And it has a little Irish sheepy, which you can't see because it's so, so shiny. There you go. That sheep came all the way from Ireland, and I made a stitch marker out of him. Now he's marking progress, and now he's gonna mark progress on the second panel, because hopefully, I mean, what do you mean, hopefully? Definitely the next time I podcast, because that's 2 whole weeks from now, the second front panel will be finished. I love the pattern. It's beautiful. I can't wait to wear it, even though the chances of me wearing it are slim because Florida, it's gonna be like 90 degrees on Christmas, for sure. But, oh man, I love it so much. I can't remember the last time I had a project that I was so obsessed with. You can get this pattern on Ravelry. I highly recommend it. The yarn is, oh, I forgot to say. The yarn is Webb's Haydenville, Valley Yarns, Haydenville, which is their worsted, and it's a 60/40 merino acrylic blend. And because you buy so much of it, you can get the Webb's discount. So I really highly recommend the pattern. It's so well written. I just love it. Also, the pattern is by Shannon Mullet-Bowlesby, who's one half of Sheba Guys, and I posted about it on Instagram, and I didn't even tag them. I just like hashtagged the sweater, and he totally commented on my sweater picture, and basically I had a freak out moment. I was just like, ah, it was the best. Okay. I have 2 more works in progress, kind of, to show you. One is, I thought I would be further on this, but I got really upset with it because, not with the shawl, with myself, because as we discussed, math is not my friend, and my count was off by 1 stitch, and it took me 30 minutes to find out where I had gone wrong. I simply half double crocheted 2 together by accident because I wasn't paying attention, but then I didn't want to look at it anymore, so it got put away. So this is my giant triangle shawl that I have been working on, which, as you can see, has sections of solid and ribbing. I am completely done with all of the shawl except the last section of ribbing, which will be at the bottom, which will be in this color. And you can see that I have frogged a little bit. Yes, that's because I did not realize that I had made a mistake until I was halfway through a green row and it didn't line up. And I kept looking at my own pattern that I have written and then looking at the yarn and being like, this isn't right. This is where I was last time. This is a little Scottish sheep. Ah, you can't see him. So this doesn't look like that much, but this is a triangle shawl, that is quite a lot of yarn and crochet time. Oh, I can't wait to wear this. This is gonna be gigantic and huge, and that's exactly what I wanted it to be. And I have a name for this. This is going to be the Frost Shawl. If I can get my act together and stop dropping yarn everywhere and write up the pattern, if I can come to terms with this and get it out to testers, I'm hoping to have it release it in January sometime. But we'll see, we'll see. I have not been on speaking terms with this project for 2 days, but it's so close to being done. So I'm really excited for that. I'm making that out of Barocco Vintage DK. You could make it out of any DK yarn. You could even make it out of worsted yarn, but it will be gigantic if you do that. So maybe you need to shorten, or maybe just do 2 repeats instead of 3. The last project is living in this fabulous bag from Crochet Luna. And it has some pins. I was making last time the My Sweet Socks pattern, which is a free pattern by Elizabeth of Crochet Cakes and Caroline, who is the Mind and Muse podcast on YouTube. And I cannot find the front There we go. It's the My Sweet Socks pattern. And I was making it out of this amazingly blue and purple yarn that Melody from the Melody Crochet podcast sent to me. And this is what I have. Now, we have to have a discussion because I had a discussion with Caroline and Elizabeth about this. The pattern is great. I cannot crochet correctly. Basically, that's the problem. And I know this, it's been a problem in quite a few patterns actually in my life because I have arm problems sometimes. A lot of crochet does this. There's a lot of motion. So when I learned how to crochet, I kind of did it out of a book, so nobody taught me how to crochet. And I instinctively avoided having to move my arm as much as possible. So I do all of the motion with my left hand. So I go in and out a little bit with the crochet hook, which is why cables bother me because I have to go like this as opposed to just like this. I'm not sure if this is making sense, but I do all of the wrapping of the yarn, like everything and holding the project, everything comes from my left hand. That makes my rows very short because they're just squashed because I'm not pulling and keeping tension on the yarn. Like if the yarn was coming through here and I was pulling it, it would be a more even tension. Now I get an even tension, but my rows are really short. So row gauge has always been a problem for me. And I tend to crochet very tightly because I'm wrapping, I'm not pulling. I have made an effort to at least loosen up. So I'm trying not to crochet so tightly anymore because I know that that's bad. And also for designing that's bad, but I have not been quite as successful as I would like to be. I'm still working on it. It's a process. Like when you've been crocheting a certain way for 6 years, changing it is a little bit different. And I actually think knitting is helping a little bit with that because of the way I tension my yarn for knitting. But you can see that my rows are really short because of how short this heel is. So when it's on my foot, like I can get it to fit, I can get this on my foot, no problem. But the heel is, maybe I can put this on a sock blocker and show you. We'll see. The heel is so low that it's not really going to work on my foot. Like basically, because of the way I crochet, I need a gusset. Do you see what I mean? So the heel really needs to be like here for this to fit properly. And it's not the fault of the pattern. It's the fault of me and the way that I crochet. So I actually got to see Caroline and Elizabeth, which I'll talk about in a second. But I showed them the sock, and because I look at that pattern. It's so beautiful. And we talked about this like at length. And basically just because of the way I crochet, I need a gusset. Like I need a point where the stitches increase right here. Because if I can get the stitches to increase and do kind of like a mini heel flap or something like that, then it will fit better because the heel won't be so short. For a normal person, this heel would fit perfectly. I am not a normal person. I have to do things the hard way. So that's fine. That's totally fine. All I need to do is some math, and I need to use a bigger hook because my rows are so short already. Going down to a small hook to get gauge is fine width-wise, but it's not really fine length-wise because it really messes up my row gauge. So I need to use a larger hook and work out the math for what size I need to use by doing gauge swatches, etc. And I feel so lucky because I got to actually sit down with the designers of a pattern and talk about this at length because I know them and they're my friends. Love you guys. But like that's an opportunity a lot of people don't have. So that's why I'm talking about this with you, because I can't imagine that you crochet the same way I do because it's ridiculous. But basically, if you're having any kind of issue with like a crochet heel being too shallow, it's probably your row gauge. And row gauge is really, really important in sweaters, in socks, in everything. It doesn't matter if you're knitting, it doesn't matter if you're crocheting. If you mess with the row gauge, you've got to usually do some math, which is totally fine. But as we discussed, I'm not great at math. So what I'm going to do is take this apart. I'll probably knit a pair of socks out of this, and I'm gonna think about doing some math on a heel flap and gusset. Like what size, I'm gonna actually do some swatches, I think is what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna take a few different kinds of sock yarn and a few different hooks and really make some swatches in the round and maybe put them on my foot and walk around and really decide what kind of fabric I would like on my foot. So once I decided what kind of fabric I would like, maybe that's a 3mm hook, 3.25, something like that, because this was made with a 2.25. Then I can look at how many stitches per inch I have and how many stitches around I will need and make the size that is closest to that. So it's not complicated, I just need to sit down and actually do it. So I hope Caroline and Elizabeth, you're okay with me talking about this. I'm not in any way saying that the pattern is bad. It is not. The pattern is beautiful, and I wish that I didn't crochet like a crazy person and have a teeny tiny little heel. Like this should be probably out to here. It should be a little bit longer, and it should definitely be a little bit taller. And it is not. So that's fine. I feel super lucky to have got to spend time with them and actually talk about it, because I was looking at it like, I just don't think it's gonna work. Like if I left it the way it is, it fits. But if I kept going, I don't know if I'd be able to get it on my foot because the heel's too small, because I crochet ridiculously. So that's the story. I'm not upset. I'm actually really happy, because all I need to do is make some swatches and do a little bit of math, and then I'll have perfect crochet socks every time. How easy is that? You guys, let's talk yarn and happy yarn mail. So I want to show you a couple of things that I purchased, and then I have a whole box of things to show you, actually. And then I want to talk about, let me just start. Let me stop prefacing everything and just show you what I bought. So I bought a couple of things. One last Saturday, 2 Saturdays ago. So the day after I recorded the last podcast episode, I woke up in the morning and I was just like, I kind of want to go to my yarn store. And then I was like, it's fine. It's ridiculous. But I kept thinking about it like 4 or 5 times, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to the yarn store. So I went over to Stash, a place for yarn, which is in St. Pete, and that is my local yarn store. And I popped in, and weird yarn intuition, they actually just bought another yarn store in Tampa. So there was a yarn store in Tampa called Roxy's, which I had actually never heard of, but they were closing basically. And so they called and said, do you want our inventory? Would you like to take over the shop? Keep it open? And so they did. They said yes. So they had their grand opening on Thursday last week. Well, their grand opening is next Saturday, December 1st, which I'm going to try and go over there because I've never been there. And I'm so excited for Stash and Kristen, who is the yarn store owner. She's just the best, and she loves crochet people. And if you're ever in town in Tampa or in St. Pete, you should visit Stash St. Pete or Stash Tampa. And this is their little pin that I showed you earlier. So I bought a little pin, and while I was there, I also bought a ball of sock yarn. This is Barocco socks. It is color 1453, because they never write the color names. So annoying. And this is 75% superwash wool and 25% nylon. I bought this for the year of the sock, which is 2019. And I also bought something I've been wanting for a while, but I just haven't gotten around to buying it. And it is a pocket gleaner. If you don't know what a gleaner is, basically all of the pilling that happens on your garments, you take it off. I can't figure out how to open it. Obviously I haven't used it yet. This is a pocket sized. So it has these 3 different tips. So if you have like really bad pilling, you would use this one, medium for this one, and just a little bit of pilling, you use this. And it takes the pills off of your garments or your fabric without damaging the fabric. So that's really important, especially because I have been making a lot of garments this year, and some of them are already pilling, so I'm really happy. And plus, it's pink. So I got to support my local yarn store like a couple of days after they made a huge purchase. So I'm really excited about that. The only other thing that I've purchased is last Friday, I actually got to go to Orlando and meet up with Kalisha from the Quirky Monday Craftcast, Elizabeth from the Crochet Cakes podcast, and Caroline from the Mind and Muse podcast. And I will leave links to all 3 of these lovely ladies' podcasts in the drop down below, because if you don't watch them, you totally should. They're 3 of my favorite people in the world. Elizabeth I had actually met last Thanksgiving, and she lives in Florida, and Kalisha lives in Florida, and we miraculously all had the same day off. And Caroline came from Puerto Rico to Elizabeth in Florida so they could go up north for Thanksgiving. So we all got to meet. And so we met at a coffee shop in Orlando, and we stayed there for much longer than we thought that we did. Like, we were gonna stay there for like an hour and talk and then go to yarn stores, but we ended up staying there for like several hours because it was just like talking to people that you've known your whole life. Like, I'm a little sappy. I don't know how to do this without getting emotional. It was basically the best. And it was wonderful to actually meet people in real life that I watch all the time and I have communications with. And I'm so thankful to the yarning community for bringing like me together with these lovely ladies. And if you should totally watch them because they're the best. But we had coffee. We stayed there forever. The bathroom was closed at the coffee shop, which was slightly weird. And so I had to go next door to like a paint store and use their bathroom. But then we went to 2 yarn stores and I bought one thing at each yarn store. And then we went and had dinner and then I drove home. So it was so fabulous, and we're definitely gonna do it again for sure. So the second yarn store, I bought this ball of sock yarn. It is Zauberball. It's German. Who knows what it says? This is a 75-25 wool nylon blend as well. This is the only thing that stood out to me. The second yarn store, I can't remember what it was called, but they had so much yarn, which you would think would be a good thing, but I found it a little bit overwhelming, and I just kept coming back to this like 3 times. And so the 4th time that I walked back over to this ball, I was like, okay, I need this in my life. So I bought that. And then the first store was, so one of the stores is called Knit with an exclamation point, and the other store is called the Knitting Patch, and I'm not sure which is which. But the first store was the tiny one, and I saw this. It had to come home with me. It says alpaca on my bag. It's put out by Gleaner, but it's a wet dry bag, so this is probably gonna go with me to the beach. It's waterproof. It's made for like swimsuits and towels and stuff like that, but it's totally gonna be for yarn. That's not even the best part of this bag. This is the best part. On the back, it has an alpaca butt. Oh, I love it so much. I've been waiting to show it off on the podcast so I could use it because it's so totally me. It's neon colors. I love it. As you do when you're yarny, right? You exchange. You take little gifts for people. I was not expecting this though. Kalisha brought me a ball of sock yarn for the year of sock that she was not using. And then as you see, she donated this amazing Avengers bag to the Nerd Along, and she made me this, which is the same fabric. It's all the Avengers. This is Vision. This is Black Widow. This is Gamora. This is, I have no idea. Who is that? I'm failing. Thanos, Thor, Scarlet Witch. I can't think of her name, but it's T'Challa's sister in the Black Widow. And this is the General. This is Spider-Man. What is his name? What is his name? In real life, whatever. He's from Guardians of the Galaxy. This is Rocket. I can't remember these 2 guys' names either. This guy is from Doctor Strange. This is from Ant-Man. And he is, oh gosh. I can't remember. I'm a bad nerd. And there's more on the back, like Mantis and what's her name? Nebula. Should I be doing this? Because all I'm doing is not telling you the names of people. But basically, she made me an Avengers bag. It's got white fabric inside so you can find what you're looking for. And she also made this cool stitch marker. And she has awesome bags. In fact, she's having a sale in her Etsy shop right now. She has the most beautiful autumn bags listed. I will leave a link to her Etsy shop and her podcast down below. Quirky Monday Crafts. Thank you, Kalisha. You're so nice. And then Elizabeth and Caroline Caroline brought me a tape measure because I need one because my bunny tape measure broke and I'm so sad. And I have used this like 17 times since she gave it to me last week, and I kept putting it back in this box to make sure that I would show it to you. But look, it has a cupcake. Also, I got a Cupcake Notions pouch from Chrisbeth. This is the cutest. This is like her signature Cupcake Notions pouch. It's so cute. I love it. I can't wait to use it. I'm sorry for the rustling. It can't be avoided. I'm not sure. I think that this is from Elizabeth. Which, look at this amazing mini. This is heavy too. I feel like this is enough for socks. And this is from Caroline. I pulled this out. I pulled this card out before I pulled this out, and I was like, what? So basically, it's from not an advent calendar, but like a Halloween calendar. And this is the picture that inspired that yellow yarn. I pulled this out and I was like, I don't know. What does this mean? It's this yarn. And actually, that's pretty spot on, I think. So we all had a good laugh. That was really funny. So this is gonna be perfect for, I don't know what, heels and toes, maybe? Caroline gave me something, which I would have never expected in a million years, and I barely kept it together. I don't even know if I'm gonna keep it together now. But Caroline does needle felting, and she gave me this. She hand needle felted this, and it has like extra meaning because this is supposed to be Edinburgh, because we went on an Edinburgh trip, and this is like the bowl that they have all around. And I can't, it's so beautiful. Like, how do you even do that? This is like wool painting. This is not, Caroline, you're a true artist. I don't even know what to say. It's got a little sheep. I don't even know what to say now. Like, words cannot express how beautiful this is and how much it means to me. It has been carefully wrapped in this bag since she gave it to me, but I have a spot of honor in my kitchen. It's gonna be hung up on the wall. I have a little print of like a stormtrooper giving another stormtrooper flowers, and this is gonna go right next to it. If you love her needle felting, if you go to Crochet Cake's Etsy store, if they're still there, they might still be there. She has a few pin cushions that are needle felted, like a slice of cake and a cupcake, and she sends some once she's done with them for sale. So you can buy a needle felted item made by Caroline. And this is just the most beautiful thing in the world to me. So, thank you. Doesn't seem adequate at all, but thank you. Oh, you have to bear with me 1 second because there's so much stuff here. I also, ooh, I got another tape measure. And this was from a lovely lady who wrote me like the sweetest note ever, named Nikki. And I'm going to use that definitely. I also got a gauge measure. That's upside down. I got a gauge measure. This is 4 inches by 4 inches square. The company who made this is called Katrinkles, but Brown Eyed Girl sent this to me. And it's gonna make braiding patterns so much easier, because normally I'm like sitting with a tape measure, like trying to figure out like count and hold the tape measure at the same time. No, you just plop this on and count how many stitches are inside. So perfect. But wait, there's more. A lovely, lovely person named Vicky sent me a message a while ago and was like, hey, can I have your address? I saw something that reminded me of you and I want to send it to you. And I was like, okay. She sent me, I don't know where this is from. Is this from Expression Fiber Arts? If you know where this is from, let me know, because I would love to link to it. It's a pin of like a little yarn girl with yarn balls for hair or a hat, and like, it's the cutest. I love it. I really, really love it. And I want to put it on my bag, but I've been saving it to show to you. And then finally, Claudia, who is Crochet Luna, that's where I get all my pins. basically I had a ridiculous day and I didn't sleep well the night before, and then this came in the mail and I didn't even know what to do. So she sent me some new pins that are now up in her shop. So there's one called Yarn Enabler, which we all need that for Christmas, right? This one says Courageously Crocheting On. There's cute little stickers. This is a Harry Potter Pusheen. The cutest. And then these three are her new pins in her shop. We've got Shawl Project, Sweater Project, and Sock Project. So you can tell what's in your work in progress bags, in your project bags. Your work in progress bags. Oh man, clearly I've been talking for too long because I don't know what's going on. Thank you, Claudia. You made my day. You made my whole life. That was the best. Finally, there is I wanted to spend a couple of seconds talking about this because I feel like there's a little bit of confusion. So once a year on Instagram in November, there is a campaign called Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted. And I participated in it last year, but I found out about it last year, so I was a little bit late to the game last year. I think I was able to grant like 8 to 10 wishes, and that's all I could do because I just wasn't prepared. So basically what it is everyone posts their wishes of what they would like, and then if you can grant that wish out of your stash of yarn, you have some yarn that you're not using, or you have the resources to be able to buy something for someone, then you go grant someone else's wish, and then you can post a wish after you have granted wishes. You can post what you would like to see. There's a couple of things you need to know about the Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted campaign. One is it's already wound down, so you have to keep an eye out for it, because if you miss it, like, you really need to get in the first 24 to 48 hours to have the best chance of getting your wish granted. I granted 31 wishes this year. I have been prepping for this. I have been saving money and yarn, etc. So I really, really wanted to grant a lot of wishes. Some of the wishes I mailed, some of them were things that I purchased and sent to people. Although one of my packages got returned. I have to try that again next week. I bought some patterns for people. I donated some of my own patterns. And you can, there's a couple of ways to get the most out of Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted. Number one, remember that it is better to give than to receive. I granted 31 wishes. Am I gonna get like 31 skeins of yarn in the mail? No, that would be ridiculous. I want to, because I want to spread love and joy in the holiday season, right? So that's number one. Number two, you need to get in immediately. I granted all 31 of my wishes in the first like 24 hours, and then that was all I could do. So I was out of things to send to people. So you've got to get in right away if you want the best chance of getting your yarn wish granted. Number three, don't be so specific. One of my yarn wishes was for sock yarn, any brand, any color, because I want to make some socks in 2019. And so I got a few people who have sent me sock yarn, which I will show you, because I wasn't specific. If you get really specific and you're like, I would like a skein of 2017 Harry Potter Yarn Club yarn from a homespun house, the chances that someone's going to grant that wish, very small, very small. That's just how it is. You need to be non-specific. Don't say I want a Star Wars specific project bag. Say I want any kind of a project bag. Or don't say I want one specific pattern. I want any pattern from my wish list on Ravelry. You got to be generic so that people can, the less specific you are, the higher a chance you have that someone will grant your wish. So I don't know what number I was on, but you do need to not be generic. And then finally, well, not finally, two more things. You can get something sent to you if you stock the feed. So some people will put up reverse Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted, meaning I have a skein of yarn, and the first person who claims it, I will mail it to you. That is how I got this, because I was on the feed. Like, I basically dedicated my life to Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted for 24 hours because I wanted to grant as many wishes as possible, and I'm so grateful to be able to have granted 31. This popped up. I said, me, because it's amazing. And I wanted to show it to you specifically because it's Mitchell's creations, and she makes incredible yarn. So this is awesome. So that was a skein of yarn that I got that way, not someone who contacted me. So, and I did that with my patterns, like reverse. Anyone would like a copy of one of my patterns? I have this many copies to give away. Comment down below. The first few people who get it, you will get my pattern. And then finally, don't, like, if you are late to the party and no one grants your wish, it's not really what it's about, is it? So don't be like mean or negative. Like I saw, especially because I still have been like monitoring the feed to just see if I happen to have anything I could send out to someone. I've seen a couple of posts of people being like, nobody granted my wish. This is the 7th time I've posted my wish. I'm sorry that nobody granted your wish, but you probably didn't get in soon enough, or maybe you were too specific, or maybe it just got buried in the feed, but it's better to give than to receive, right? So if nobody had granted any of my wishes, I would have still granted 31 wishes, right? My original goal was 20, and then after 20, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do 30. Because I want to share the love. I want to spread the love. Like, this is such an amazing community. So I have 2 things to show you. One is, because I had asked for sock yarn any kind for the year of the sock. This is from a viewer of this podcast named Melissa, who hand dyed these herself. They're so awesome. I love them. This, I don't know if it's gonna be socks because it's so soft, but this has a high twist, so this will probably be socks. This may be part of a shawl. So thank you, Melissa. That was very sweet of you to send me that. There was another person named Sharon. Thought I put the yarn over here and it was over there. Who is part of the Knitty Hook. And I just wanted to show you this because it's gorgeous. It's right up my alley. Blue, pink, purple, and super bright. So I was really, really appreciative of that. There's also, I was able to connect with a couple of indie dyers who are just starting out. One of them is called From the Milk Parlor. She is actually starting her shop tomorrow for me. It'll be today for you guys watching this. On Saturday at 10 a.m. And as soon as I have a link to her shop, she's dyeing beautiful yarn. And I just stumbled across her in the feed and we've been messaging back and forth. And I said, I would love to send people your way. You don't have to send me yarn. I would just love to support you because I know launching a new business venture can be really terrifying. So go check her out. I'll leave a link down below as soon as I get a link. But she is called From the Milk Parlor and she is launching at 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Saturday, the 24th of November. So I had wished for sock yarn and like a couple other little things. And then my last wish, after I had granted all of my wishes, was, I don't even know like how to say this. I basically asked, I said, if you have a favorite tea, my last wish is that you will send me 1 bag of your favorite tea and I'll build a tea advent calendar. Because you can just mail a bag of tea like in an envelope with a 1 stamp and it's fine. Y'all. It's already falling. Look at this. I literally have been inundated with tea. I have tried my absolute best to say thank you to every single person who has sent me tea. And not my count, which I think is a couple off, but as close as I could get to it, was I have received 155 individual bags of tea. So this is 155 bags of tea, minus 3 that I've drank already. I'm gonna go through and separate them out between like herbal caffeine-free teas and caffeine teas. And I am going to be posting on Instagram in my stories. If you wanna know what the tea of the day is, you just need to go to my stories and I will post every time I drink one of these, a picture of it so that you can discover new teas. I did not get 155 people sending me stuff. Like one lady sent me like 20 bags of tea. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to say thank you. Like, let me just pull a few random ones. Lemon cake, ginger snappish. I've never even heard of that. There's tea from Greece. There's tea from Germany, from the UK. People have sent me tea. Like, I don't know. I've drank 3 cups so far and they were all so delicious. So delicious. And I'm gonna go through and if there's any like duplicates of teas that I already have some of, because I do have some tea in my stash, my tea stash as well, then I'll include those in prizes when they go out in the mail. So I'm gonna share the love with this tea as well. But I don't know how to say thank you or respond to that. I had a few people message me and be like, can I copy this? For sure, copy it. the campaign is like already over now, so I don't know that anyone's going to respond unless they're already following you. But definitely copy this. I was hoping like at max for like 25 teas to make a tea advent calendar and just have a different cup of tea every day, and tea that maybe I can't access because I live in Florida and we only get certain teas, right? I have enough tea to last 4.5 months. 5 months? 5 months of tea. So I'm gonna cut that down a little bit, but I am flabbergasted. I don't know what to say. Like, how do you get 155 bags of tea in the mail? It was the most fun thing ever to have all of these little envelopes, and some of them had a cute little card in them, but mostly it was just tea in a bag, tea bag in an envelope, and I got to open it and be like, oh, it was like Christmas every day for the past week of tea. So I think there's a couple more tea bags coming my way, and I'll add them to the box. So yeah, that's all. I know that's been quite a lot. Thanks for sticking with me if you've stuck this long. I know this has been quite a jam-packed episode, and I have been a little bit all over the place today. I think I need to go eat something. And if you have won a prize, please respond to the Ravelry message that I will send you. Send me your address. I'm very excited about that. And get prepped for the Love Your Stash Cal starting on Christmas Day. If you have a pattern you've always been wanting to try, if you have yarn that you've been wanting to use, that you've been hoarding, use it. That is the time. And gosh, leave me a comment below. Tell me what you're working on. Tell me about your Thanksgiving. I hope you had the most wonderful time with family and friends, if you celebrated that. And I will see you guys in a couple of weeks. It's officially Christmas. It's the most wonderful time of the year. I'm so excited. So until I see you again, happy crafting, and thanks for spending some crafty time with me. Bye!